The Sony XR-55A80J is What Hi-Fi's best buy 55 to 58-inch television for 2021. This OLED TV won our award because it brings most of the performance of Sony's flagship XR-55A90J at a considerably more affordable price, and that means it's right up our street here at What Hi-Fi, offering as it does the very best bang for your hard-earned buck. Of course, this set doesn't quite have all the bells and whistles of the 5-star A90J, and it isn't quite as brilliant a performer, but it is still very much a 5-star TV, and it comes so close to the range topper that the value for money it offers can't be ignored. A quick note here on model numbers. In the UK, there's a variant of the A80J called the A84J. This version has a microphone integrated into its bezel for completely hands-free voice control, where the A80J's mic is on its remote control handset. The A84J also has a feature called Rich Colour Enhancer. Now, we've tested both models side by side and find that there's a very marginal degree of extra richness to the A84J's colours, but the difference is far from pronounced and the sets are otherwise identical. Therefore, our review applies to both the XR-55A80J and the XR-55A84J. The A80J and A84J are easier to accommodate on a table or AV stand than many rivals, as the feet can be set either wide or narrow, or in a soundbar setting that raises the set to allow a soundbar to sit underneath the TV without blocking the view of the screen. Other than the traditional speaker terminals on the A90J, the A80J has identical connections to the range topper. That means you get aerial, satellite, Ethernet and optical ports, plus 3 USBs and 4 HDMIs, 2 standard HDMI 2.0 spec and 2 HDMI 2.1 certified. The big news is that the A80J has the same cognitive processor XR chip as the A90J. This combines the AI abilities of its X1 predecessor with a system Sony's calling cognitive intelligence, which, Sony says, aims to add a more human perspective to identify and enhance AV performance and deliver an experience in line with how humans see and hear the world. Now, before we reviewed the TV, all that would have sounded like so much marketing guff, were it not for the hugely impressive performance we'd already seen from the A90J. The A80J uses the Google TV platform, so Netflix, Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV are presented in 4K, Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos where the content allows. And it has Chromecast and Apple AirPlay, both of which offer full 4K HDR and Dolby Atmos support. Disney Plus and YouTube are also available, along with music streaming from Spotify, Tidal, Amazon Music and Deezer. So the big question is, how much of the A90J's awesome picture performance does the A80J offer? Well, the answer, perhaps surprisingly considering the price differential between the sets, is most of it. The A80J can't quite hit the same peak brightness, but it's not a million miles away, and that means it's a punchy performer in its own right, often producing truly impactful bright highlights that are packed with detail, colour and shading. And at the other end of the spectrum, while some OLED rivals generally prioritise inky blackness, the A80J skews slightly more towards shadow detail, digging up extra shades in the darkest parts of the picture. It's still capable of going perfectly black when required, of course, and when that's combined with those extra bright full-bodied highlights, it makes for a thrillingly dynamic viewing experience. All told, in picture terms, the A80J is essentially the same TV as the A90J, but with the punch dialed down just a notch or two, and that makes it an extremely impressive performer. As for sound, while it's still the case that we at What Hi-Fi would always recommend a standalone sound system to complement such a superb picture, Sony OLEDs have a rather clever trick up their sleeve. Rather than using traditional speaker drivers, acoustic surface audio involves the use of actuators that vibrate the screen, making the screen itself act as one big speaker. Because the sound's literally coming from the screen, it has a directness and immediacy that most TV speaker systems lack. Before we got it into our test rooms, we knew this set had the potential to be a very good television, thanks to its shared DNA with the awesome A90J. Still, we had expected the gap in performance to be fairly big, given that fairly big gap in price. But that really isn't the case here, which is why the Sony XR-55A80J is What Hi-Fi's best buy 55 to 58-inch TV for 2021.